Try again. All right, I'd like to call this special board meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. I think we have a quorum, so I'll declare it a quorum. And I do thank you. We have a lot of joyous things to do after the brief meeting we have at the beginning. And Ms. Bowie, would you please call the roll? Mostly here.
Melissa Mason.
Here.
Josie Barnhart.
Here.
Pat
I am here.
Judy Justice.
Present.
Dr. Tim Merrick. And David Perry.
Mostly present.
Mostly present. And before we get to the pledge, I'd like to have Ms. Mason explain why Ms. Mason is going to do it and how she's going to do it today. Ms. Mason.
So tomorrow is National American Sign Language Day. So I will be leading the pledge in American Sign Language. I'll say it too, don't worry.
We're not expected to follow your...
No.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to stand over here so you can watch.
Oh, good idea. Oh, have mercy. I don't need y'all watching me.
You're the derby guy.
I'll
Stand up on the...
All right.
Right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that's cool.
Very cool.
That's why I wanted to see it.
Very cool.
Okay.
Wow.
I am really trying, so I apologize for my voice. Hopefully I'll get it back. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda, but prior to that, I will make a motion to postpone the discussion of committee assignments until the agenda review, and that's policy, and to change it to discussion of policy 2210. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying.
Mr. Chair, point of information. Well, this is a specially called meeting, and so we just have a clarification of why that's being moved and changed and not being taken care of at this meeting?
Well, I've talked to several board members, and they think that really would be a better discussion for at that time, because we also may have students arriving, and in case it does get a little heated, it would be better to do it at a later date. Yes, ma'am.
So what's the date you're proposing?
The agenda review.
So 2 weeks away.
Right.
I would like to say that I am in favor of handling this serious matter as rapidly as we possibly can. We as a board can't afford to postpone accountability.
Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second to postpone the committee assignments and renaming it to policy 2210. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, that passes 4-2. All right. I will now entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
first and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes 6-0. Okay, we will move on to our old business. First, traditional calendar update. Dr. Barnes.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I sent you guys an email a couple of days ago, and I want to kind of make a clear statement first. I have gone over the substitute bill rates for the day of May 1st. Let's kind of give context. Currently, we have a teacher workday scheduled for May 4th. We have gotten word that there is a call to action for educators for May 1st. I've looked at the sub list. I think I'm backing off of making a recommendation. I'm just giving you guys this to consider, that at the end of the school year, instructional time is pivotal. Little concerned about if Friday becomes a day where a lot of teachers are out, and then we're already out Monday, we may be sacrificing a teacher workday we may be sacrificing some instruction on May 1st. But I want to make it clear that however this goes, school's going to be fine. I'm not going to create unsafe situations. We're going to be fine with that. I just am awful concerned about the amount of instructional time that we could lose if we have a preponderance of subs on the first and then also a day off on the fourth. However, it's also important to know that right now our fill rate is at 90% for that day. So I went back and looked and said, okay, what's been the last several Fridays like, right? So last year, on this day, on the Friday of last year, we had 241 absences, 192 meeting subs. Right now, for May 1st, we only have 95 absences and 85 meeting subs. We're at 9. Please remember that there's always going to be any number of kids that wake up sick or who throw up at 3 o'clock Friday morning and the mom has to call out the next day. That happens all right. So there are a number of unplanned absences that happen with this as well. This is not about this board, and I want to make sure the public understands that this is not about do we support teachers or not. You guys have demonstrated that you support teachers in numerous ways. If we didn't have a workday already sitting there, we just roll on. But I wanted you guys to have the ability to consider shifting that workday from the Monday to the Friday prior to enable us to ensure that we didn't lose that instructional time. Does that make sense?
Mr. Perry?
I just have a question. If they were going to miss, if we did reschedule the work and we kept what it is, and somebody were to go to this event in Raleigh, when would they be required to give some notice, and when would that be? Is there a deadline?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So our policy requires things like this to be personal leave. So every teacher is provided a number of personal leave days a year. Ordinarily, with something like this, the personal leave requirements are that they have to provide it, request within 5 days of the date, before 5 days. Help me say that. Before the
5 days before.
prior to 5 days, 5 days before. The principal is supposed to 100% grant those unless there's not an availability of subs. So personal leave has been a hot topic for teachers for years. Initially, you had to give a reason. Then for a while, you were getting a $50 deduction if you took a personal day. Those things are all done. As long as you give a reason, there's only 2 of them a year, that you can only have 5 total before they accrue into sick leave. So we try to have as few boundaries on that as possible. I would so first I would require that personal leave be used, because that's just what the general statute says, and that we've made that clear to our staff before. The second thing I would do is target any number of folks from central office to look and ask HR to analyze what schools may be in a more concerning place than others, and leverage support to them at those places. But yes, they have to request it for 5 days prior to the date.
So there's no real way of telling right now what we're looking at.
That's a good question. There will be an increase in what we have now, yeah. How much, that's hard to say.
I move that we uphold the calendar as approved last year.
Second that.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
First and second.
Okay, here's a discussion.
Ms. Justice?
It's so simple to do the right thing by our staff. Our staff is suffering because of politics. They're not political. Teachers normally do not go into this profession for political reasons. But we are now the 51st in the nation in per pupil expenditure. I think we're something like 43rd in teacher pay. It's ridiculous. We can't keep treating they need to have a chance to give a voice. They have to feed their families. Their insurance is out of control. I've lived the life of a teacher. I have close friends that are teachers now, and they're struggling and they're barely getting by. And as I said, they're not political. I went into this not because I don't like politics. The only reason I'm sitting here right now is because I'm a teacher. We need to support our teachers. It's such a simple thing just to move that work day. I know it's going to be hard for some parents because it's going to take them they got a couple weeks' notice though to rearrange whatever it is their plans are. We got a lot of people that need to be able to go up there to Raleigh and give their voices to what kind of life that they're struggling with right now, and that they need to at least, they just need to at least to have enough money to survive. And our kids need to have the materials in schools to learn. This isn't even about teachers and their families anymore. When we're 51st in the nation in per pupil expenditure, and when you see the wonderful job our teachers do, because we're not at the bottom of the pile when it comes to the results, and that shows how hard they work. So give them the right to go, have a voice and say, we care about our kids' education and our families. So I don't see what's so hard about switching a day. It's a little difficult, but it's a heck of a lot more important that we support our teachers and give them that opportunity. That's what I think.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I disagree with my colleague across the way. As a member of this board, it's our duty to put students first, and that means recognizing that education is a partnership with parents and not a tool for political activism. When we alter, delay, or close schools, it creates real disruptions for families across this district, especially families that are working from lower socioeconomic backgrounds that don't have the flexibility or the luxury to change their schedule or don't have backup childcare. These decisions have real consequences, and I'm not going to step aside and acknowledge that. The North Carolina Constitution prohibits striking, which is exactly what the New Hanover, North Carolina Association of Educators is encouraging teachers to do on May 1st. So the idea that we would even consider adjusting our calendar to accommodate politically motivated protest is deeply troubling. It sends the message that political pressure is more important than educating students. We've seen the impact of school closures before. Outside of weather emergencies, the last widespread disruption occurred during COVID. That led to the biggest decline in public school enrollment that we've ever seen because it was the wrong decision for students and families. I do not support changing the calendar and accommodating a union-backed strike, not now, not ever. But if this board decides to go down this route, then at least let's be honest. I will make a motion that add a disclaimer on every single calendar that we approve that says, subject to change based on board-approved political activism. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm torn. On one hand, I feel like, wow, yeah, our teachers do deserve better, and they do have a right to be citizens and to advocate for better pay for them that they most definitely deserve. But at the same time, I also understand what my colleague in front of me just said as well, but at the same time, I'm also looking out for the kids too, in what their education is going to look like if we don't switch today. Are they going to be sat in an auditorium supervised by a bunch of subs instead of getting learning? Is the quality of their education going to go down for that day? So, we got to look at that perspective too. Okay, they're there, but what are they doing? Is it a nothing day where no real education comes along? So I have to look at it from both ends. The other thing I would suggest is, because we all feel that our teachers and our staff deserve more money, and if we could allocate it, we could. If we didn't go along with this day, I'm suggesting, is it possible that we could have a district-wide, on next year's calendar, a district-wide day where we invite all employees to come with us and hit Raleigh? Because we do stand up for them, and we do want to be for them, but we have to do it in a coordinated manner so that, our parents and our students don't suffer. So this is just a suggestion. That's all I have to say.
Go ahead.
It's what you said a few minutes ago, that school's going to be fine. And I've really wrestled with this, and I've asked some parents. And then I looked up the National Teachers Association and the North Carolina Teachers Association to see what their platform was saying about this. So, plus I know from trying to schedule right now the Finance, Capital, and Bond trip to Raleigh, but the legislators in the short session are only there from Tuesday to Thursday. So if there's going to be a rally in Raleigh, most of your legislators aren't going to be there. They go home by lunchtime on Thursday. So I talked to parents, and parents said, well, we set our schedule when you set the calendar. And I was on that calendar committee that set that calendar. We set that calendar a year ago. And if I've got plane reservations, hotel reservations, cabin reservations, doctor's appointment, dentist, car appointment, I'm now going to have to change it. My babysitter situation is going to change if I'm employed. So those things count. And then we set a precedent. What do we do the next time there's a walkout called nationally? Are we going to change that day? So I'm not in favor of this. I went on the websites and I looked, and the activism, they're saying it's just a warm-up day for a full teacher walkout day in June. And I saw anti-MAGA, anti-Pete, somebody, I don't think it was our chair, it's probably the Pete in U.S. government. But there's a lot of statements that are very political on their sites that are wrapped around this day. So for those reasons, I will vote no. I will vote to keep the calendar the way it is.
Talk about being political. I can't even fathom the hypocrisy, the lack of understanding of why we're in the shape we're in. I guess the word 51st in the nation doesn't make an impact. I guess, the fact that teachers could make more money bartending. In fact, they have to bartend and work too, because I've been there too when I used to teach. And as far, excuse me, as far as families.
Come in to the calendar discussion.
Yes,
Mr.
this
Chair.
is.
Okay, point of order, I have to rule on that. And the decision of the chair is that it is not well received. Continue, please.
We really need to get over the politics for a second and look at our schools. Some parents will be inconvenienced for a while, but they got 2 weeks to figure it out. It's a work day. And, it's not even a matter of going to try to convince the people in Raleigh thinking that they will be there, because the idea is that it is the state that's going to see the amount of support that teachers have for their schools. And don't think it's any other thing. Teachers are not political. I know that for a fact. They need to be, though, because since they haven't been, they have been taken, in my opinion, taken advantage of. It's time that we stood up for our kids. We can't continue to be the 51st in the nation in per pupil expenditure. And it is political. The people in power did that intentionally. Things will change. Cycles always shift. But in the meantime, this is how they shift. We need to stand up for our kids' education, and that's what they're doing. And that's why that's not going to harm those kids that day. What will harm the kids that day if things just continue the way they are.
Nice.
So initially, my thought was we do advocate. I know that I have not always agreed with everybody in this room, but I do know that there are several individuals who themselves have made multiple trips to Raleigh, who have had multiple conversations with our state legislators. So we are fighting. We are trying. So I kind of take a little bit of, I can't think of the word. I think we shouldn't be saying we're not doing anything, because we are. We are. It may not have made huge impact yet, but it takes progress, it takes relationship building, it takes a lot of time. But our board has definitely been making those steps and taking those steps to have those conversations with legislators. I know our superintendent is having those conversations with legislators. So we are fighting for sure already. I have been kind of on the fence about it myself for a variety of reasons. We do appreciate our teachers. We do understand that there's, some pay issues. We do also understand that these are not just here in North Carolina. They are far-reaching. Everybody is struggling. There are districts and counties in this state that are struggling financially overall and are in the hole overall. And so all that being said, we are doing what we can with what we have. It is easy to sit here and I mean, we have so many kids in our district and we have so many families that this would impact in our district. It would be easy to say, well, parents can just make those adjustments, and they may not be able to. They may not be able to. 2 weeks might be enough time, or it might not. It depends on the family. It depends on how many hours they need to be able to get by, because costs are rising. So I think it's not something to take lightly in a variety of reasons. Yes, we care about our teachers. Yes, we want to support them. We are fighting and advocating for them. But we also have to consider the parents that may not be able to have that flexibility with their families, with their schedules, because they're living paycheck to paycheck and they just need as many hours as possible. And if we take a day that they had already been scheduled to work, we're taking some hours away from them, which is part of what they need to take care of their kids. So.
And I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, since everybody else has had an opportunity. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of vacillating, going back and forth on this whole thing too. But I think that, on the one hand, we definitely want to support our teachers. We want to support them to go and to speak up for their jobs. I think that's very important. On the other hand, they have a job to do, and that is to educate our students, which is a very, very important job. I'm going to ask our superintendent, do you feel it will be a safety concern on that day? That's because obviously if we have a situation that it becomes a safety concern. I think that.
So when I initially brought this to you guys, there were 2 things I was concerned about. I was concerned about safety. I was concerned about loss of instructional time. Looking at the sub-list today and the people that are on it now, I've got 2 schools that I think I'm going to have to lean into with support, but that's not 45. First off, I don't want you guys to make this decision based on an advocacy issue, because I didn't bring it to you as an advocacy thing. Creating a workday out of whole cloth, right? Like creating an extra one. That eliminates the argument about instructional time. Because if I'm saying instructional time is important, I can't say, let's just add a workday here, because then obviously that's lost instructional time. Shifting a day, I think, in my mind, is not about advocacy, it's about instructional time. I don't want us to make the decision based on safety, because I don't see, if I had 400, 600, 800 teachers out, I would say, well, first off, we wouldn't, because we don't. But I don't want parents to consider it a safety issue. I don't want kids not to come to school because they think it's a safety issue. We will have safe schools, period. If I have to empty out the central office and every other school I can find to create that, no worries. So it's an instructional time thing. So the challenge with this is waiting to then see if it becomes a problem, then exacerbates the problem about giving people notice. So you make the call, we'll be fine, either way. I wanted to bring it to you simply because the timing is so strange, it would be weird not to. But we're going to have safe schools either way. However, I just didn't want this to be, because it's weird, right? It's kind of weird that the timing happened, so that's why I came to you guys. Because I'm certainly not going to make that call willy-nilly.
Mr. Perry?
Dr. Rance, just to clarify, so no safety issues, but we could see a situation if they are out that day and we don't reschedule it, where instructional time will be affected. I mean,
Do I think there's a potential for that, for instructional time? Sure. I've done this before. Several times we've had this kind of thing come up. What I've done is I'll direct HR to send out a message to all of our subs, ask them to make sure that they're diligent in picking up days on Friday. I'll then talk with the principals this Thursday at our principal meeting to ensure the protocols about personal time are followed, and then I'll address things with teachers as I can. I will tell you that I am going to lean towards approving personal time whenever I can, regardless. because there's only 2 days a year. Teachers can't take leave for any other reason. There has to be something for them, right? So until that becomes a safety concern, I'm just gonna let it ride. But before that, I'm gonna empty out our central office, empty out HR, empty out places to go support teachers in schools. So we're a long way before that becomes like a thing where I come back to you and say, "Ooh, I don't know if I can keep kids safe." I don't think we're there yet. Does that make sense?
I'm good. Thank you.
And I'm just curious, did you generate this concern, or was it by a board member? Was it a member of the public? Where did this concern come from?
I brought it to you guys initially.
So you generated it?
Did I generate the rally?
No.
No. I have been trying in this second year to be more predictive on stuff that happens. I brought this to you guys now because I didn't want to bring it to you guys 2 weeks from now and go, oh my gosh, I think that all this stuff is trying to be more predictive. And so when I saw that this was a thing and starting to gain momentum around the state, that's when I brought it to you guys.
So then I do have a question, Mr. Chair. For clarity, so in the event that you ever feel like our schools are unsafe to be at, it's my understanding that you have sole discretion to be able to close them, because we do not sign off on approval. We had a fire in one of our pre-K buildings earlier this year. We've had snow days, we've had weather days, and it is your call, because that's what we have entrusted you to do. So my question is if for whatever reason anything happens with our schools, are you saying that you no longer have that authority to make the call and it is the board's call, or you were just giving us the opportunity to give our input? Because that's where, if you're telling us that you're potentially concerned of safety, is it going to be our call as we move forward, or is it your call? And that's just my question of clarity, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
So, issues of weather have always been sort of in my purview. Now, I want to be clear, I've never done anything without you guys being a part of the conversation. This, I don't think, is considered the same event because it's not weather related. So I don't think that it would be appropriate for me to make random decisions like this that aren't imminent safety concerns now. Does that make sense? I guess.
So are you saying, let's just say between now to May 1st, you find out, wow, 80% of our teachers are gone, and it becomes a going to this thing. They're all asking for personal days. There's a huge deluge. Everybody's going to Raleigh. At that point, even though it's too late to switch the dates around, you would still cut off school for.
Honestly, with the questions that are being sort of bandied about today, no, I don't think so. I think we'll have school.
But how would you do it if you didn't have enough teachers or subs to,
I'll start
even if you
denying-
cleared out central office? could you
I'll
still-
start denying personally.
Oh, okay.
And I'd just like to say, and then I think we need to call the question, because we have some young people waiting for us. But, we have basically three options here. You can all understand the voice problem. But one is we can keep the schedule as it is. Two, we can say we're going to flip-flop the days. Or three, we can say, Mr. Superintendent, we trust you. We'll let you make that call.
Point of order.
But there is, I know there's no, yeah, I understand.
Or was it?
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying that those would be the three possibilities at the end of the day. We do have a motion and a second on the table to keep the calendar as it is. Ms. Booth, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Barnhart?
Yes.
Ms. Bradford?
Yes.
Mr. Wildebohr?
Yes.
Ms. Mason?
Yes.
Ms. Justice?
No?
And Mr. Perry?
Yes.
And that passes 5-1. Sir.
While we're on this topic, since I brought it up before, I'd like to make a motion to add to our next, to an upcoming meeting regarding adding a district-wide day to Raleigh, where we can all go to Raleigh and advocate for all of our teachers as an entire school district. and make it a legislative day as opposed to a work day. Because I want to make sure that our teachers and our staff know that, you know, we're going to go fight for them.
Is there a second?
You don't have a case for that.
I'll second for discussion, but I'd like to have a discussion, sir.
Okay, well,
So my point of discussion, and I'm probably going to say no at this moment in time, but we have been creating legislative days and doing that, and so I think it'd be more appropriate for the calendar committee to discuss that when we're making next year's calendar. That would be my only point of discussion, and the reason why I'd say no at this
and
time.
again, you can't add anything to
And
that, so we can't.
point of order, we have a process for adding things to agendas.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Now we're going to move on to our closed session. Closed session pursuant to General Statute 143, 318, .11, A1 and A2, to prevent disclosure of student records rendered confidential under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, 20 U.S.C. 1232, G, and prevent premature disclosure of scholarship award. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of going to closed session, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 6-0, we are in closed session. Please,
Pete, do you have cough lozenges?
I do.
Sweet.
We are back in open session, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
First and second, any discussion?
No?
All in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, no. Okay, it passes 5-1. We are adjourned.